And it was at that very moment, when he had that aha moment that he knew the answer to that, we heard very loud shots going off in the hallway right outside the classroom door.
Okay, and then what happened?
And so it was just for maybe a second, the students just, it was almost like we stopped in our tracks, and they flew out of their seats and tried to find cover. I mean, in my mind, it was unmistakable that that was gunshots. Again, I obviously didn't know, but so the students flew out of their seats trying to find cover in a very small room that had a wall full of windows. There was a front door with a large window, to me it was large, going down the center, that was not bulletproof. There was a lot of furniture in the classroom, and there were a lot of students in that classroom. So
how many students were in your classroom?
there was, I believe, 30 that day.
Okay.
There were a few absent. But it's a small room to have, many students. I had about, I want to say 35 or 37 desks in there, something like that, because some of my other electives were larger. And they tried to find cover wherever they could. We didn't have much time, but they scrambled to different parts of the room, sort of along the perimeter, and some tried to get behind the laptop cart, and some tried to get behind a file cabinet and the Recordex board. Hannah and Shannon went under the well of the teacher desk. So I stood there for a second while they all tried to get cover. We had never had a drill or anything to tell us what to do or where to go. But a young lady named Kelly Plore looked up and she called me over. So I ran to her. She said that she was thinking of her mom and what her mom would do in this situation. So we all were sort of down on the ground. We were on the floor trying to hide behind whatever we could. And it was really seconds later that the barrel of that AR-15 just ambushed our classroom, came right through that glass door, the glass panel in the door, and was just shooting everywhere. It was extremely loud. It was very frightening. And I kept thinking about these kids that should not be experiencing this at all.
Okay, and did you see anyone wounded?
I did not see, we were all close to the ground, like laying on the ground. I did not see anything at that time, no.
Okay. All right, so what happened next?
So from where I was laying on the floor with Kelly, I could see the handle of the door. The door was locked, but it really wouldn't have mattered because whoever was out there, shooter or shooters, which we didn't know at the time, could have easily put their hand through the panel of the door and opened the door. And then I thought, well, that was it. It didn't happen because just as I was thinking what to do, as the only adult in that classroom there, I heard the shooting across the hall.
Okay. And how long did you hear the shooting? You heard it down the hall? Did you hear it anywhere else?
Yes. And at some point a fire alarm went off, so it was hard to hear everything that was going on. We heard it down the hall, and then we heard it further. But nobody moved. Nobody moved because, and again, I found out later, I think from some of the he did come back. We were worried that whoever it was, that the killer or shooter would come back, and so. And the students were quite mature. I was unbelievably proud, and they were incredibly brave. Just shh. Shh. No one said anything. Very, very quiet. Just worried that it was going to happen again.
All right. Did you hear anything above you?
I might have. I mean, on the second floor.
Or anywhere?
We might have heard, but then again, the fire alarm at one point went on, so it muffled sounds of of the shooting.
Okay. And how long did you wait before there was a police response?
So, like I said, we were very, very quiet. I think students were on their phone trying to get service or texting their loved ones or their boyfriend or girlfriend. So maybe between 15 and 20 minutes, we waited for someone to come rescue us. But the young lady, Kelly, who was next to me, was able to get a bar of service. So she said, I heard her saying to 911, 12:14. So I thought they would come soon because they knew what room we were in.
Okay. And when the police came, did you see anyone who was injured?
So when the police came, they were screaming. SWAT was screaming in the hallway and got into the classroom door the same way that I thought anyone else would get in. They just stuck their hand through that glass panel and told us to put our hands up and was screaming for the injured. So that's when I saw the 4 students that were injured in my class.
And who did you see injured?
Daniel Menescal and Isabel Checker, Samantha Grady, and then Samantha Fuentes.
Okay. And was there anyone who that you saw that wasn't wounded, who wasn't moving?
I didn't, because they told us, don't look, they were screaming at us, screaming, because they said they didn't find the shooter, and so they could have been anywhere, so they were screaming at us to put our hands up and not to look down and to run out.
Okay. All right, let me show you now State's Exhibit marked 3S for 3S for identification. You know who that is?
That's my girl, Helena.
What's her full name?
It's Helena Ramsey.
And 3R?
And that's Nicholas Torres, handsome boy.
At this time, Your Honor, I'd like to call for State's Exhibits 3S and 3R.
No objection.
States 3R for identification will be received as states 55, and states 3S, as in Sam, for identification will be received as states 56.
Your Honor, I have no further questions of Ms. Schamis.
Does it answer any questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. You're excused.
Thank you.